Alright, now, as before, this time, Indrajalika, wizard. Also done with the, like, lawnmower. Vera, Adept. Manavid, Spirit Knower, closest I got to Shaman. This one, I just let it go. Why? Because of the effort that casting takes. Sometimes you work up a sweat. I've actually literally gotten to a sweat because I've done a bunch of mantra in a row. It happens. It just does. So, Shaman. Virtuous service. Samakarati, Anvavakarati. Pindikaroti, Swadati, Pasadayati, Savati. Identify with, insinuate, associate with, insinuate. Identify with sweating. Reduce to order serve. Pretty simple so far. Virtue of the Adept. Now the thing about it, so here is the deal. So the Shaman is the wild one. The Adept is the traveling one. The Adepts are the ones who are usually on boats. Which is why they are there. So there's spirit for Shamans. There's water for Adepts. The thing about Adepts is, so wizards are generalists, Adepts are specialists, and Shamans are special. So like, they're supposed to be like the every teacher. They're supposed to be like the wizards are supposed to be the teachers, like of everything, like the general teachers. The Adepts are supposed to be basically teachers of specific things, like specializations. And the Shamans are basically, their duty is almost basically to be students, more or less to the spirits. So that's how that works in terms of like the arcane 3. So, Adept. Actually, I'm going to have to look this one up because I forgot to before it started. However, Vera, Devyabatika Jala, Akisha, Dapalos, Ajasara Jala, Saha. So, Adept. Magical Elemental Water. Digital Initiation. Mama Ajasara Jala, Saha. My forehead, sweat produced, or sweat of the brow. Pretty simple. Samakarati, Anvavakarati. Associate with, insinuate. Indikaroti, Swadati. Identify with, sweat. Because, sort of like the blood, there's very little in this world that can that is better at that identifying who you are than being the one who's bleeding, sweating, or crying. Like, if you bleed, it's got to be your blood. If you sweat, it's got to be your sweat. That's just how it works. Prasadayari, Anojivati. Reduced to order, live for so long. Because basically, like, for Adepts, and I'm not joking, like, their particular magical specialty, because they default to water. They default to water. But they always choose, like, an additional one, even if it is extra specializing in water. Because they're Adepts. Their deal is to specialize. They're not an Adept if they don't do that. And they don't have to be a water Adept just because Adept is the default thing for Adepts. That's not how that works. And so, I'm going to double check that I actually have Wizard right. Indrajalika. Also Dharmika, not Dharmavi. So, service, dedication, honesty. This one, I'm not gonna lie, I pulled from Ultima, where they have like virtues for all of the character classes. Now this is like an important plot point in Quest of the Avatar, like it just is. That's being said, which is funny considering Avatara means incarnation, and considering like when you have like characters in a game, it's called your avatar. Because it's literally like your create avatar. It's literally your game infant. It's literally your game incarnation. It's your game incarnation. It literally is. Like literally. Like literally. And that's why actually that's also funny, because if you ever make like what's called an avatar character in a game, it's because you're making yourself in that game. Like, I think people never even knew this, because maybe, like, I didn't really know this. They're called avatar characters because they're incarnations of you in the game. Like, that's just how it works. Because it can't not work that way. Anyway. Indrajalika. Samakarati. Avabakarati. Hindikaroti. Svadati. Prasadayati, Sterkaroti. Because wizards, at least in my game, or in my my world based on a game, cool concept, effectively, and I just kind of worked this out now, because they are effectively working magic by being not dishonest. That's actually why they use Divya Bautika Zakti. They literally use elemental force. That's what wizards use. Force magic. Not even joking. And, like, that's the thing. That's part of the relationship between each of the elements and each of the different professions. Like, you can't really be a shaman if you're unwilling to serve. If you're unwilling to serve, you just can't do that. You just can't. Like, I don't know how many people know how being a shaman works, but that's basically how that works. You can't be unwilling to serve the spirits as a shaman. It just doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. Just like you can't be a priest and be, like, unwilling to devote yourself to God. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, it doesn't work that way. At all. It just doesn't, and it can't. But anyway. Where was I going with this? Alright. And that's why, like, I don't understand how, like, intuitive this is, because it's basically me relying on you, like, grasping stuff intuitively, so I hope it works. Because I'm having bhakti or faith in your intuition. So basically, like, Earth is tied to sacrifice. Because, like, metaphysically, metaphorically, like, Earth is basically sacrificing itself by existing for us to be able to stand on. Like, that might sound strange, but honestly, that's just kind of how it works. And also, like, it has to do with us, like, coming from the dust and returning to the dust and stuff like that. Like, I'm not even joking. And that's how barbarians work. And then, like, metal is about the mark of the knowledge of invincible heroes. Like, that's why it's with soldiers. Like, the virtue on a metaphysical level is kind of, sort of, directly, actually, the the magical element involved. And so, like, with champions, the reason champions are champions and their element's fire is because they're torchbearers. That's why their reduction to order is inspire with confidence, because there is very little. Oh yeah, also because all of these professions have day jobs, like, that are part of their training as part of a guild, so they don't necessarily just have to be adventurers forever. And for Ratha, one of them is specifically actually being fire marshals, because part of their shtick is being able to douse flame, because you suck as a fire wizard if you can't douse flame. I'm not joking. And the thing is, like, if you're a pyrokinetic, like you're an Agdigati, like you make fire move, or you're like, I forget what the word for creator is, but you're a fire creator, you're a pyrotechnic, as like a psychic gift or whatever. Because I'm pretty sure that, like, at least one of my ex's family members, like their entire family, I'm pretty sure has like a strong Divya, like, Agni affinity. Like, they just do. Which would mean they'd have to have, like, Shakti Agni. They have to have psychic fire. Like, before it gets the ability to be trained and stuff. And what happens when there is a pyrokinetic in your family? Or a pyrotechnic in your family? Growing up, there is almost no chance there won't be house fires. There's like almost no chance. Mysterious house fires that start because kid has a nightmare. A pyrotechnic child having a nightmare will not cause a house fire. In point of fact, actually, in the Imager series, the danger of Imager's mind sleeping is why they live in these, like, lead-lined rooms, to make sure that they don't accidentally image out their dreams. Not even joking. Alright, anyway. So that wraps that up. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe.